All right, well, we muted, so we're going to get started, everyone. Thanks for coming. Yeah, so we'll just jump right into it. So we're experimenting with the calls. As you know, Mike needs more work because he's made these graphics for
That's right.
Tellor, what are we calling it now? Tellor Core-Chat.
Tellor Core-Chat.
Tellor Core-Chat. Yeah, so what we were going to do is they've sort of morphed into this anyway, where it's these more general discussions.
Right.
And then we were going to use once a month, we're going to go really deep into some of the technical stuff. Maybe have like an hour where we, actually whiteboard something out, really get into what are we building, what are some of the changes going to be, and why are we building those things?
Yeah, there's only so much real dev substance that we can update you guys on a weekly basis, and so these calls turned into something much more casual, and so I figured we would just call it what it is. We've had some people that were confused that maybe joined the Telegram channel for the first time, and then they see, oh, a tech call, and
it's definitely more,
and it wasn't as substantial as they might have expected from a tech call because it's this weekly thing. So it needed a rebrand, and so here we are. And on top of that, we're trying YouTube Live to see if we like this instead of Zoom. This is kind of neat, I suppose, but we haven't figured out how to screen share yet with it. So
is anyway. What it is. But yeah, we'll kind of start off the calls like we do with the basic dev updates. The first one, the big news that all of you guys are waiting for is the inflation upgrade. So we're actually just finishing up tests on those. Our goal is to kick off the inflation upgrade probably this weekend, assuming everything goes smoothly. So you'll start seeing some reductions in block rewards. It should go relatively smoothly, but if you want to be if you're a Slido developer, want to be a part of the process, just reach out, let us know. For most of you, this will mean no change. Basically, unless you're a miner, you won't notice any change. And if you are a miner, you will very slowly notice changes. Other things we're working on. So we're doing another miner upgrade over the next few weeks. We're going to be doing a PSR upgrade. So I'll get more into this in kind of a deeper tech call, but basically it's going to be a mandatory upgrade for the miners. So we'll put out the upgrade and then have a time frame that it's going to be mandated by. But there's going to be some exciting things in there, just kind of more robust APIs that are really needed for the space. As you guys all saw, the B0X hack. Part of the problem there was just using the last traded price, especially the last traded price on a DEX, as your settlement price, and that's really just not best practice. So we want to make sure that we give projects like that a good, robust price to actually read off of. So we'll be implementing some of those. Other things, we're going to be giving Tellorscan a refresh, so stay tuned for those updates. That'll be fun. And lastly, if you are a developer, if you guys have been following the Alliance of Decentralized Oracles, the Auto, you know that we have an EIP out there now. There's been some changes and some new comments on the EIP. If you're into that sort of thing, love to hear your thoughts on it. It's up on our repo now. And lastly, for you devs, I continuously update the bounties. So if you want some work, whether you're a back-end, front-end, content creator, if you want to do some work for some tributes, the bounties are getting more each week. Reach out to me. So, okay. So,
well, I'll start in because there's the third question's about the bounties, so I'll just start.
Well, we have more updates. More updates, Joel. Community stuff.
Oh.
So I can do these. So the first thing, so I'm going to be releasing. I was actually hoping for an update to be able to share the screen and walk you guys through it, but I have actually created I call it Tellor.fund. So you guys are going to be able to go to a nice fancy website, and it's going to be community funded endeavors. So the reason that I created this, this was sort of my ETH Denver hack. So a lot of you have said like, hey, can we get an exchange listing? Can we pay for marketing? Can we pay for an AMA with a group? And we've really just had the general approach with kind of the dev share and with any money that we have is that we don't want to pay for a lot of these things. But some of you find it very worthwhile. So, you know, there's been a few AMAs that we've had to pass up on because they require substantial amounts of money. So the solution that we sort of came up with was crowdfunding them. So what you guys can do, you can go on here, you can talk to me and we can create a proposal. So you can create, say, AMA with this group, or it could be listing at X exchange, listing fee at this exchange. We'll post it up there. You'll have the amount that you want to get funded, and then people will be able to contribute TRB to it. So it's a really simple kind of interface. It's really pretty. And I'll be sharing that with you guys. Right now it's just up on Rinkeby.
You can see it on Rinkeby if you connect to Rinkeby.
Yeah. Tellor.fund.
Looks kind of like that.
Yes. So it'll be cool. Hopefully people use it and you can kind of crowdfund some ideas. We're hoping to get it live up on mainnet next week, and then maybe I can figure out how to screen share by then and walk you guys through it. Other things, as of today, we're up on Uniswap's front end. So if you see, we're on the drop-down menu for Uniswap.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, we initiated that pull request like 2 months ago. So it was cool to see. And then also for basically everyone, go to our Medium. Mike.
Yeah, there was a March update going out today.
Which was, yeah.
I should cover everything that happened in the prior month. I mean, we call them updates, but they're really a recap of the previous month.
Everything we've done, all the content we created. Go there, you can kind of get a nice synthesis, see what we've been up to. Or you can, of course, just go back and watch all these calls.
Right.
Also go over it. So yeah, and I think that's about it. So if you guys have anything else, feel free to ask questions now, or else we will just get into the questions, which we got a good amount of questions today as well.
Let's just jump in. All right, question number 1. How are you keeping your burn rate so low? Startup expenses, etc. Well, I mean, we like to say that we're a lean team. You know, we have only 3 core founders. We've kept the team that small this entire time. That definitely goes a long way. As you guys are well aware, we're very careful and conservative with how we spend our tributes or our revenue or any money that we have. We're very quality over quantity with that.
Yeah, I mean, Mike and I were just talking about like it's so much different. You know, we only want to spend money on things that we know are going to bring value to the system. So it's you know, keeping the team small, because adding more people, you want to make sure that they sort of fit with your values. You want to make sure that they're actually going to be adding enough to sort of go with the burn rate, and especially with the volatility of crypto prices, you never know where it's going to be.
And definitely not following any sort of tried and true path that some other crypto project has done, that from 2017 or the last couple of years, because I don't think that story is going to continue on as being a successful strategy going forward. And also, we don't necessarily want to end up in the same place that some of these projects have ended up.
Yeah, definitely not advertising.
Yes.
You know, pushing on you guys, grassroots move. You know, we'll just call these other founders, call these other projects to get them to know about us. You don't need, you know, spending all these monies on conference sponsorships and advertising and things like that. It's just, it doesn't lead to what you ultimately want. You see so many projects who, you know, spend all this money to be big name sponsors at places, or do all these ads, and it's just a losing game. So anyway, next question.
It might be a short-term win for a long-term loss, and so we have to be the ones that keep our eye on that long-term vision, despite all the noise that we hear about you should do this, you should do that. So anyway, we keep our expenses low out of necessity and resourcefulness.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the FITCI grant incubator? So we never received a grant. FITCI is this is where we are right now. It's the local Frederick.
So FITCI stands for like Frederick.
I always get this wrong.
Innovative Technology Center, something like that. So basically, this office is part of the Frederick County, Maryland. We're just north of DC. Since we are job creators in Frederick County, we have a chance to get an office here at a very affordable rate. So that's what we do.
It's really, it's not the biggest. Plenty for 3 people.
Yes.
There's a bunch of these like
that. That's what FITCI is.
Right.
And then we have a few business advisors, people in traditional industries who just answer our questions on just kind of startup things, and it's nice to have.
There's workshops and these sort of things that we try to go to, but most of it isn't really too related to what we're doing. We're the weird guys at FITCI, the very unique group. We once had, didn't we have was it the governor or something?
Yeah, the governor.
Something like that. Next question. On the teller's bounty sheet, when something says available no, does that mean it's being worked on?
Yes, it does.
Well, that makes sense.
But if you still want to work on it, let me know. There's always a lot of times like somebody will have just picked it up the day before or something. So if you want to help them with it, we can talk. So
if you see a no and you're really, really interested in it, just reach out to us anyway, because there could be.
Yeah, especially if it's an article or something like that. A lot of times you can split up the articles, or you can have two articles on the same thing. It doesn't really matter.
We've co-authored things ourselves, so.
Sure.
How much is the mining reward, and how will this change if data will be uploaded more frequently? Example, not every 10 minutes, but every 2 minutes.
I think the way that you would update the reward is just then divided by 5. So you would just basically, I think the thing that you're targeting with the reward is actually the inflation rate of your system. So you want to make sure that you're incentivizing pieces enough, but the big worry is if you print too much, you're going to increase inflation. So you would want to keep the same inflation target regardless of how short you make the time.
Yeah. What does product market fit in crypto even look like? It's a good question.
Yeah.
I feel like, it's so early in crypto, and there's so few companies and there's so few users that we're almost like we're market creators. We're building this thing, and a lot of our users are still just thinking of their idea, or that no one's even heard of them yet. We just talked with a great company today that we had never heard of. And
to me, like if you actually find product market fit, I think the thing that would actually show is if you can extract rent from it. So like if fees are actually being paid. So like at the protocol level, like if you look at which cryptocurrencies actually have fees being paid. So Bitcoin, there's fees, there's transaction fees on everything. It's not just the base reward. People are paying to get things through faster. Same with Ethereum, gas, people are paying to use it. That's a product market fit. Basically those two networks, like if you look at network fees, no other protocol basically has any network fees. They're all like 0 basically, because they don't really have users. Even if they're doing more, EOS for instance does more transactions or something like that than Ethereum, there's no fees on it because nobody's actually willing to pay for it. And that's whenever you'll see product market fit. And I think the same would be so with oracles, like whether it's us or Chainlink or someone like that, whenever you want to see who actually finds market fit, it's whenever you see, okay, who's willing to pay to use this. You know, like with a stable coin or something like that, like whenever people are willing to pay to use it, like you know, you can have just this technology out there, but you don't necessarily have a product market fit until you can charge for it, in my mind, or at least till somebody's willing to pay to keep it running. Like, because even like, you know, we've talked about it with the DEXs. You don't really have product market fit if you just have a DEX that's free. Like you need to be able to charge for it some way. And I mean, maybe advertising at some point, like, but yeah, I think like sort of eventual extraction of rent from users.
That's a good point. An aside to that is there's definitely the values fit. And I think that this space is what we're doing is we're creating products that have a sort of a mission statement, an underlying value of decentralization and sort of freedom and censorship resistance and stuff like that. And so what we've created is like our product market fit is those people that share those values. And so some of these DeFi projects don't currently share those values, and we're seeing issues with those projects and things going wrong. But the market, the sentiment of the market is shifting towards those values. And so I don't know, that's how I see it.
Sure.
Next question. Can you explain the new inflation rate in more depth?
Sure.
Example, the month-to-month mining reward drop. So
it's
block to block.
Yeah, so it's block to block. It reduces by a tiny fraction every single block. So, you know, like what you'll see is, so whenever we implement it sometime over the next week, you'll see the next reward will be like per miner. You can go
like
4.999995. Yeah, something like that. So you'll see it start going down like that, and then every 10 minutes it'll be a little bit less. So basically, the way that it's going to go, since it is going down by a fraction each time, so it's going to be a nice little slope. So it'll go down faster at the beginning and lower near the end. And the target is that in 1 year, we will have a block reward of 1 per miner. So instead of now each miner gets 5 rewards for solving it, it'll go down to 1. So it'll be in sort of gradual decrease down to 1. So yeah, that'll be how it works. I think some people have said, so if you're reducing 4, you know, the rough calculation is that you're going to be reducing 4 over 12 months. So like every quarter, it's going to go down by roughly 1 TRV. Not bad.
I think, and we have that document out that covers it in more detail.
Yeah, so it's, you know, happy to kind of talk to you guys more about it, but it's.
Any questions you have, just DM.
Yeah, hopefully it's going to be relatively straightforward, and there won't be any hiccups with it. So.
Do you think the recession is imminent?
Man, we have so many. Maybe.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's always tough because, you know, like you have, you know, I was an Austrian economist back during the 2008 crisis, and basically the Austrian economists and a lot of the libertarian community has been saying that a recession is imminent since 2008. You know, we're going to have another catastrophic fall, you know, and it hasn't happened. Now, obviously, it's, you know, we'll have another recession. This is, believe it or not, this is the longest the U.S. has ever gone without a recession. So, you know, we're sort of due for one, but will it be the end of the world? I highly doubt it. So
yeah, it's not a matter of if, it's when, like the coronavirus. All right, so next question is, the mining community has been pretty quiet. Any updates on that area, hash rate, difficulty, etc.? I don't think it's been that quiet.
You got to head over to the Discord.
Yeah,
probably.
the Discord is much more active, I think. And there's also the pool, the Tellor pool. He runs his own Discord channel as well now.
And then the rumors, at least from people who have contacted me, that a few new people are trying to start up pools. So I'm guessing that within the next month we'll have some new mining pools available for people to jump on. So that'll be exciting. We'll be, kind of having competing pools is always a good thing.
Yep. Nick, what is it like having kids?
It's great. Yeah.
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 Cool. How did the most recent auto call go?
It went well. Yeah, I would say so. Some projects, we're always much more gung ho about getting things done than a lot of people in the crypto space. Some people in the crypto space, it's you can. They'll be like, oh, okay, we'll reconvene in a month or something, and we'll work on hashing this out. And we're very much like, now let's get it out the door and let's get people trying.
It's the American way.
Yeah. So a lot of projects in the space are just much more research oriented than us, and so that's like my one complaint about the auto group. But other than that, no, we had some really good discussions and people talking about just the best ways to make standards in the space. So
yeah. Are you ideologically opposed to the current generation of internet companies? I suppose. I mean, being in crypto, I suppose, but I'm also, we're also users of these internet companies. So I'm not personally too ideologically opposed. I do think it's great that we can create alternatives and something better. We've been saying we want Web3 to. We don't want Web3 to be what Web2 was to Web point.
Well, I think
1.0.
Yeah, it's not that you can be ideologically opposed to the internet companies. We sort of built what the incentive structures gave to them. It's really hard because now the way that they monetize themselves is that they collect all of our data and they create these weird sort of states in and of themselves, because I think that's like you have this problem where like Google and Facebook and Amazon's a great example where it's fine if Amazon's just selling things, but now the fact that they're collecting all this information about you, they know everything about you, that's concerning. And then the fact that they bought the Washington Post is very concerning. So now you have these internet companies who are also running your media, who are slowly running your politics, who are, and it becomes this weird cycle where they control more and more. You really had the same problem, hundreds of years ago, like where you had to like break up Standard Oil and you had these giant corporations become monopolies. You see kind of the same thing redeveloping here. And you sort of need to do something about it. I think the danger with crypto is that you could do the exact same thing. So what you'll see, one of the big reasons that the internet sort of played out the way that it did was people wanted better, faster, better UX. So you centralized all of your web servers at these hubs, or you got rid of kind of the personal peer-to-peer nature of the internet, and that really just destroyed it all. And you see a lot of that happening even in crypto, where we're really, everybody's willing to just use centralized exchanges, or you're willing to use this centralized service, or not own your own private keys in order to have a better user experience. And that will probably be our downfall if we let it happen that way. You want to make sure that you keep sort of the values that are intact, and that you don't sort of sell it out, because centralized systems are always going to have better UX. It just makes sense. They're faster and easier to use. So as a sort of community, are we willing to say, hey, we're willing to sacrifice some UX to keep control of our own money, of our own personal information. And if we don't, then yeah, it's
if you don't learn from your past, you're doomed to repeat it. And so
I think I strayed from the question, but
yeah, we'll move on. Any hints on possible connections for me, Denver?
Mike? No.
Yeah, I mean, anything I say is it's not going to be good. You guys are just going to run with it.
Yeah, but an announcement of an announcement coming soon.
You'll just speculate on it. So, and no matter how good a meeting or connection is at any point, we're not excited about it until it actually turns into deployed code, basically. Yeah. So that we can announce something to you guys and you'll know that it's not going to be fluff and a month later or 2 months later, nothing came of it. Yeah. So, I mean, that's like our sort of commitment to you guys is, yeah, it's really hard. I mean, we would love to share with you great calls that we had even today, but because we know that you're dying to hear certain things and we're dying to share, but we can't until we know it's super solid.
Yeah, the endless stream of meaningless partnerships. You know, we're not into that. We want to tell you guys things whenever people are requesting data on our network, we'll let you know.
Yeah. Is Chainalysis evil? Do you know Chainalysis?
I don't think they're evil. So Chainalysis, they do, you know, like they analyze the different blockchains for the government.
Give it to the government, yeah.
No, I mean, I know some people who work there. They're not evil. They're just like sort of data scientists who wanted a job. Yeah, like you would expect it to sort of happen that these kind of services would pop up. It just sort of goes to show, you know, we need to make privacy really
exactly. I think they're good because they'll drive privacy.
Yeah, you want people trying to look at your stuff. Don't assume that your transactions are private. Make sure that you know, we should continue to push forward on that front. So,
is a Tellor podcast still on the cards?
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely. I think when there's a Tellor podcast, Tellor will be in a really good place because we'll have that free time to just do fun interviews. That'll be a good day. Are there any negatives to ETH being TRB's main trading pair? I mean, you don't get the Bitcoin crowd as easily, though it's not that hard to sell your Bitcoin for ETH and buy TRB.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, most of them all move together, all the big ones. You know, maybe eventually we'll have a fiat pair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not right now. Why did you decide to do a startup?
I don't know.
You have probably a slightly different story than me.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like just like you had this idea and this drive to do something, and you're like, man, if I don't do this now, like it's gonna be too late. I was like, it was definitely my thought process. Like, is there any this feels like a phenomenal idea. You know, like I really want to go after this, and like I'll do anything I can to sort of get the chance to take a shot at it.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Especially, I think I had just. I think kids were imminent for me when we first started doing the Axia or DDA. And so, yeah, it was like, now's the time.
Right before I have a kid is the perfect time to jump into a startup.
Well, because it was definitely not after you have a kid. Yeah.
Wait, if I don't leave now, my wife's never going to let me leave.
Exactly. I mean, I personally also I've never had a proper job. I've always been independent. So that's just been a philosophy of mine.
Yeah, and I did have I worked for the government, same with Brenda. And I know both of us, it was like, if we don't get out now, like we're going to be so close, you know, like once you hit a certain point, then it's like, you know, that they're dangling that pension in front of you.
Yeah.
So
I always feel validated when I meet people like you that his grass is always greener kind of thing, where I'm always like, so look, working for yourself is a struggle, and sometimes I look envious on people. I'm like, man, you have stability. What's that like? That must be great. You can count on your salary for the year. Like, I don't even know what that's like, right? So, but meeting people that had, working for the government, you could say is one of the most stable careers.
You miss the stability, but
true.
It really just keeps you alive, not knowing if you're gonna have a salary.
Sure. Yeah. And on this same vein, is running a startup tiring, and how do you manage the grind and let off steam? Well, we practice our grip strength here.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, it's tiring. Mike and I both have children that are very young.
Yeah.
Playing my guitar back there, blow some steam. But that's about it. This is
more personal.
Why are these questions about Tellor?
Well, this is the casual AMA. We're encouraging.
You guys want more personal stuff?
I just recently, last year I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so I do that. I don't go as often as I'd like, but that's how I blow off steam by wrestling with 250-pound dudes. So that's my personal thing. Do you admire Ripple? Is it a joke or genius?
Ripple's, I think it's it's not going to go anywhere. It's really hard to do that kind of thing. But it was, Ripple was so early. Like, I don't think people quite realize how early to the scene Ripple was. And it's never sort of appreciated for that, because it was a very novel idea right when it was kind of created. Nowadays it's easy to look at it as sort of a dumb project, but it was very revolutionary right when it was created, and they did a good job. Ripple set up more tests with banks and things like that than kind of any other crypto project. So it was, I do respect them for a lot of that. I think at some point though, you can look at them now and it's like, I think they settled its security, and there were a lot of other issues with it. But as far as sort of getting crypto off the ground and getting a lot of attention to crypto, they did a great job. So
I think I personally see them as the best contrarian bet or contrarian investment. And I think we talked about this before about Elon Musk and this type of character you want to have. Do you want to have a business CEO type or the Vitalik type? And I think they actually have a really good pairing with the Brad Garlinghouse guy and David Schwartz, who's really interesting. I think David Schwartz is cool. But that's the extent of my opinion on Ripple. What are the unsolved problems in crypto besides oracles?
Kind of scalability is definitely one.
For sure.
Just getting things really fast. Privacy is another one. So I mean, like ZK proofs. It's really hard to have privacy, and also privacy that's like easy and cheap to use. Zero, even like Zcash and stuff, just the transaction fees are really, really high just because it's the cost computation. So I think, it's probably just those are really the three big ones. Data storage as well. There's a lot of, storage, IPFS. A lot has been done, Filecoin in terms of research, but no one's really there's not a standard yet as far as things to go. I think those would be really the big unsolved pieces that we'd like to solve. So,
last question: can we get an updated inflation chart with the old inflation removed? Sure. Yeah.
I'll write it down.
That's what you guys want. When it's implemented, that's what we'll do, because the comparison won't be relevant anymore at that
Sure.
point.
So next week, yell at us if we don't give it to you.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. That was the 20 questions.
Yeah, and then somebody asked about ProgPow. We have it up on our board. So I think it's really important for the community to kind of look at the debate. We don't have a very strong stance. I would say I'm slightly anti-ProgPow. Just
yeah, we had a team discussion about it.
Yeah, you know, the whole idea of sort of chasing ASICs off of your system. And, you know, somebody even messaged me today, like, it seems like a lot of the network is slowly becoming FPGAs. Like, should we fork and should we get rid of them and make it more GPU resistant? And it's really, you're just playing whack-a-mole. You know, you can see like Monero's tries, and it just, you always have to like keep chasing them away. And it's never going to be a winning game. What you really, and why are you doing it? The only reason you're doing it, the big reason I see is just because GPU miners want you to. So you hope that you can sort of placate the GPU miners into it, because like the mining piece should be like, this is your security model. You should want the highest hash rate possible, and you should want the best security model. You know, people have said like ASICs, the fact that you have to have a giant upfront investment, that actually makes it more secure, because now, you know, they can't repurpose them for something else. So you should look at it really, if we're going to fork away from any, you know, if Ethereum's going to fork away from their current protocol, it should be for a very specific, like, this increases security. If you can't prove that this change increases security, or that this change does something for you, you know, if it helps one set of people versus another, that's not enough of a reason to make a fork in our minds. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Yep.
Let us know your thoughts on the call, and looking forward to talking to you guys next week.
Yep, this should be, I think this will post live automatically, and we'll share it with the channel and talk to you guys next week.
All right.